Imagine this scenario. You are alone. The familiar trail you were following has vanished beneath a layer of leaves. The sun is dipping low, casting long, distorted shadows through the trees. Panic, cold and sharp, begins to tighten in your chest. You scan the forest, desperate for a clue, and your eyes lock onto a tree trunk. There it is, a patch of green moss growing distinctly on one side. A wave of relief washes over you. You remember that old survival tip from the movies. Moss grows on the north side. You take a deep breath, turn your back to the moss, and walk south, confident you are saving yourself. Stop right there, because I need to tell you the brutal truth. Congratulations. You have just made the single decision that is likely going to kill you. Getting lost isn't just an inconvenience, it is the #1 precursor to death in the wilderness. And here is the shocking reality that most people ignore. Starvation isn't what kills you. Thirst isn't even the first thing that gets you. It is exposure. It is the elements. And do you know why people die of exposure? It's because they walked confidently, with absolute certainty, in the completely wrong direction for 3 days straight. They burned critical calories and wasted precious time chasing a lie. Today, we are going to tear down the top navigation myths that Hollywood and pop culture have sold you for decades. We are going to strip away the common knowledge that gets people killed and replace it with hard, cold facts derived from the U.S. Army Field Manual studies from the Max Planck Institute and grim statistics from real-world search and rescue data. It is time to stop the guesswork. It is time to start surviving. Let's dismantle the first and perhaps the most dangerous myth of all, the moss compass. This is the oldest lie in the survival book, drilled into us by cartoons and adventure movies since we were children. You see green fuzz on a tree, and you automatically assume it is a natural magnetic needle pointing north. In reality, relying on this is like flipping a coin with your life. Think about it logically for a second. Moss is not a navigational instrument. It is a plant. It relies on biology, not magnetism. Moss doesn't care about the magnetic poles. It cares about survival. It grows where conditions are optimal, specifically where there is moisture and shade. Now, look around a dense forest. Where is the shade? It is everywhere. According to the U.S. Army Field Manual 21-76, moss growth is completely dictated by local microclimates, not cardinal directions. If you are in a damp, shadowy canyon or a forest with a thick canopy, humidity wraps around everything. In those conditions, moss will grow on the north side, the south side, the east, and the west. It grows on all 360 degrees of a tree trunk. Relying on moss to find north is like trying to navigate a ship by reading tea leaves. It is superstition, not science. It is a gamble you cannot afford to take. The solution is simple. Ignore the biology. Plants can be fooled by the environment. Instead, trust the geometry of the sun and the stars, constants that do not change based on humidity. Now let's move to the second deadly myth. Follow the water downstream. You have heard the saying 1,000 times. Water flows to rivers, rivers flow to the ocean, and that is where civilization is. It sounds logical, it sounds like a plan, but in rugged unknown terrain, this advice is a trap waiting to snap shut. Physics dictates that water follows gravity to the lowest possible point. But think about what the lowest point looks like in the wilderness. It means water flows into steep vertical ravines. It plummets over deadly waterfalls that you can't climb back up. It funnels into impassable choke points where the canyon walls close in. And it is not just the drop that kills you. Water is life, which means water feeds vegetation. Drainages and riverbanks are often choked with the densest, most impassable brush you can imagine. We are talking about willow thickets, devil's club, and thorns that tear at your clothes and skin. You will burn your remaining precious calories fighting through a green hell, climbing over slick, wet rocks, only to hit a dead end or a waterfall drop-off. Search and rescue data consistently shows a terrifying trend. Drainages are exactly where hikers get stuck, break bones, and die. The noise of the rushing water masks your shouts for help and makes it impossible to hear rescue teams. Unless you are in a flat swamp where you can see for miles, following water is taking the express lane to the most dangerous terrain on the map. So, what is the solution? Do the opposite. Stay high. Military doctrine and survival experts suggest staying on the ridges. Seeking high ground has massive advantages. First, you are visible to aircraft and search teams. Second, your signal mirror and phone have a better chance of working. And third, you are far less likely to break your leg falling into a dark, slippery ravine. Before we continue, if you don't want to become just another statistic found months later at the bottom of a canyon, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are here to teach you reliable systems, not rely on luck. Now let's get back to the list. Let's talk about the third myth, one that becomes deadly as soon as the sun goes down. Follow the brightest star. Night falls. The temperature drops. You look up at the vast, overwhelming darkness of the sky and you see it. One massive, shining beacon of light. Instinct tells you that must be the North Star, Polaris, the sailor's guide, the constant in the chaos. You fix your eyes on it and start walking, believing you are heading north towards safety. In reality, you are likely walking south, deeper into the unknown. Here is the astronomical fact that most people get wrong. Polaris is not the brightest star in the sky. Not even close. It is actually the 48th brightest star. It is dim, unremarkable, and easily lost in the haze if you don't know exactly where to look. The actual brightest star in the night sky is Sirius. And here's the kicker. In the northern hemisphere, Sirius is located in the southern sky. If you fall for shiny object syndrome and chase that bright light, you are walking 180 degrees in the wrong direction. You are literally walking away from help. So, how do you actually find true north? You need to ignore the brightness and look for patterns. The solution lies in the pointer stars. First, locate the Big Dipper, that distinct ladle shape that most of us recognize. Find the two stars that form the outer edge of the cup's bowl. Imagine a line connecting those two stars, and then extend that line out about 5 times the distance between them. That imaginary line will point directly to a faint, solitary star sitting at the end of the Little Dipper's handle. That is Polaris. It isn't flashy, but it is accurate. Now, let's tackle the fourth myth, a phrase we have all repeated since kindergarten. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Technically, this is true. Practically, in a survival situation, relying on this generalized statement can be fatal. The sun only rises due east at exactly 90 degrees on 2 specific days of the year, the equinoxes. For the other 363 days, you are dealing with a variable called solar azimuth. This shifts dramatically depending on the season and your latitude. In midsummer, the sun actually rises in the northeast. In the depths of midwinter, it rises in the southeast. Depending on where you are on the globe, that error can be up to 40 degrees. You might think, what is a few degrees? Let's do the math. If you are hiking 10 miles towards a rescue cabin or a road and your navigation is off by just 30 degrees, trigonometry dictates that you will miss that cabin by 5 miles. In the wilderness, missing your target by 5 miles is like searching for a needle in a haystack. You will walk right past safety and never know it. Instead of guessing based on sunrise, use solar noon. In the northern hemisphere, when the sun is at its absolute highest point in the sky, it is casting a shadow that points due north, meaning the sun itself is due south. But there is a catch you must be aware of: daylight savings time. Solar noon is technically at 12 p.m., but during daylight savings it is often at 1 p.m. If you ignore this clock change and navigate at noon on your watch, you could be walking southeast instead of south. Precision matters. Details save lives. We have covered moss, rivers, stars, and the sun. But there is one final myth that is perhaps the most insidious of them all because it feels so natural, so instinctual. It is the belief that I can walk in a straight line. You tell yourself, I'll just keep my head up, pick a direction, and walk with purpose. I'll eventually hit a road. In reality, you are entering what scientists call the loop of death. In 2009, researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Biological Cybernetics conducted a fascinating study. They took participants into a forest and a desert, blindfolded them or let them walk in low visibility conditions, and told them to walk straight. The result? Every single person walked in circles. Tight circles, sometimes as small as 20 meters in diameter. Here is the biological reality. Humans are physically incapable of walking in a straight line without a visual anchor. We do not have an internal gyroscope. We have what is called accumulated sensory motor noise. One leg might be slightly stronger or longer than the other. Your backpack might be heavier on one side. The terrain might slope imperceptibly. All these tiny factors cause a drift. Without a fixed point to constantly reset your vestibular system, that drift becomes a curve, and that curve becomes a circle. Imagine this nightmare scenario. You hike with determination for 8 grueling hours. You burn 3,000 precious calories. You are exhausted, dehydrated, and hopeful. But because you walked in a massive, slow curve, you end up just 500 yards from where you started that morning. You haven't escaped, you've just dug your own grave deeper. The solution is a technique called visual anchoring or backsighting. Never trust your feet, trust your eyes. Pick a distinct object in the distance, a dead tree, a unique rock face, a notch in the ridge. Walk to it, then stop, turn around. Look at the object you just left and ensure it aligns with the path you came from. Then, pick the next object. This connect the dots method is the only way to mathematically guarantee a straight line of travel. The brutal truth. Let's be honest. The wilderness is indifferent to you. It does not care about your movie knowledge. It does not care if you think you are the main character in a survival drama. The wilderness operates on the laws of physics, biology, and time. If you navigate by folklore, by moss, by random rivers, by guessing, you are relying on luck, and in survival, luck always runs out. But if you navigate by systems, by science, and by military doctrine, you give yourself a fighting chance. So, what is the absolute best thing you can do when you realize you are lost? Do not take another step. Follow the SOP. Rule. S. Sit. Stop moving. Calm your adrenaline. Panic is the enemy. T. Think. Where were you last? What resources do you have? O. Observe. Look at the weather, the terrain, the time of day. P. Plan. Make a rational decision based on facts, not fear. Survival isn't about magic tricks or looking cool. It is about conserving energy and not making a bad situation worse. It is always better to stay in one place and be found alive than to walk confidently in the wrong direction and disappear forever. Don't guess. Stay found. Stay alive.